After the passing of the Prophet Muhammad, the Muslim world stood on the edge of a great unknown. For years, the believers had drawn their strength, direction, and unity from a single light, the Prophet himself. His guidance had been the anchor of their faith, the voice of divine revelation, and the embodiment of mercy. But now, that voice had gone silent. The earth had grown still with grief, and the question that loomed heavy over every heart was simple, yet overwhelming. What comes next? In that moment of sorrow and uncertainty, a new chapter of Islamic history began. One not led by prophets, but by men whose hearts were trained in the Prophet's shadow. These were not monarchs or emperors. They did not ascend thrones or inherit crowns. Instead, they were chosen for their character, their closeness to the messenger, and the depth of their conviction. They were known as the Khulafa ar-Rashidun, the rightly guided Caliphs. Men who would carry the torch of Islam forward, not through conquest alone, but through justice, humility, and spiritual vision. Their leadership was not marked by grandeur, but by grit. At every turn, they faced challenges that could have shattered any ordinary leadership: internal rebellions, external threats, social upheaval, and the ever-present burden of maintaining unity in a rapidly expanding empire. And yet, with every trial, they responded not with ego or ambition, but with a deep sense of accountability to Allah and to the people they served. Their names, Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and Ali, are etched into the history of Islam, but the depth of their stories is often lost in the shadows of time. Behind each name lies a life of sacrifice, of sleepless nights, of prayers whispered through tears, and decisions made with trembling hearts that feared only God. This is not simply the story of leadership. It is the untold story of four men who turned faith into action, governance into worship, and power into service. Through them, the light of the Prophet continued to shine. When the Prophet Muhammad passed away, the entire city of Medina was cloaked in sorrow. Grief, confusion, and disbelief hung in the air like a storm. Even Umar ibn al-Khattab, known for his strength and resolve, could not bring himself to accept the truth. He stood before the people, sword in hand, warning that anyone who claimed the Prophet had died would feel his wrath. The atmosphere was heavy with uncertainty, hearts fractured by the weight of loss. And then came Abu Bakr. With steady steps and eyes filled with pain but anchored in faith, Abu Bakr walked into the Prophet's mosque. He approached the lifeless body of his dearest friend and gently lifted the cloth from his blessed face. He leaned in and kissed his forehead, whispering, "You were beautiful in life and beautiful in death." Then he turned to the trembling crowd and delivered the words that would pierce through the fog of grief and restore clarity to the shaken Ummah. "Whoever worships Muhammad, know that Muhammad is dead. But whoever worships Allah, know that Allah is ever living and never dies." In that moment, Abu Bakr reminded the believers that their faith was not built upon a man, no matter how beloved, but upon the eternal truth of Allah. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, the first man to believe in the Prophet outside of his household, had always been a pillar of unwavering support. He was the Prophet's closest companion, his confidant, and the man who accompanied him on the perilous journey of the Hijrah, hiding in the cave of Thar as their enemies searched for them. In that cave, when fear crept in, it was Abu Bakr whom the Prophet comforted with the words, "Do not be afraid, for Allah is with us." Abu Bakr's faith was so deep, so pure, that he was given the title As-Siddiq, the truthful, the one who confirmed without hesitation. When the burden of leadership fell upon his shoulders, Abu Bakr did not seek it. He accepted it only out of duty, knowing the weight it carried. His caliphate began in the most fragile period of the Muslim community. The Prophet had just departed from the world, and the unity he forged was now in danger of unraveling. Tribes began to rebel. Some refused to pay zakat. Others followed false prophets claiming to carry new revelations. It was chaos at the edge of collapse, but Abu Bakr did not flinch. With quiet determination, he declared, "By Allah, I will fight anyone who separates prayer from zakat." His resolve shocked even Umar, who initially questioned the decision. But Abu Bakr made it clear, the religion was whole and complete. It was not for anyone to divide or dilute its principles. Under his leadership, the Ridda Wars were launched to bring the renegade tribes back into the fold of Islam. Through courage and clarity, he preserved not only the faith but the fabric of the community. Yet Abu Bakr was not a leader of sword alone. His foresight proved vital in preserving the Qur'an itself. After the Battle of Yamama, where many companions who had memorized the Qur'an were martyred, Umar urged him to compile the sacred text in a single manuscript. At first, Abu Bakr hesitated, fearful of doing something the Prophet himself had not done. But recognizing the danger of losing portions of the revelation, he entrusted the task to Zayd ibn Thabit, supervising the process with the utmost care and reverence. This act of preservation would become one of the greatest services to Islam, ensuring that the words of Allah would endure unaltered for generations to come. Despite the weight of his position, Abu Bakr lived with simplicity. He continued to work in the marketplace even after becoming Caliph, until it was pointed out that he could not serve the people and maintain his trade. A modest salary was arranged, just enough for him and his family to live. He led with humility, never allowing the power of leadership to cloud the purity of his intentions. His home remained humble, his heart remained soft, and his eyes were often filled with tears in prayer. Abu Bakr's caliphate lasted only 2 years, but the legacy he left behind was immense. He stabilized the foundation of the Muslim state, quelled internal rebellion, preserved the Qur'an, and ensured that Islam remained intact at a time when it could have easily fractured. As death approached him, he remained calm, knowing he had done his duty. He chose Umar as his successor, not out of favoritism, but out of trust in his leadership and sense of justice. He was buried beside his beloved Prophet in the chamber of Aisha, where the fragrance of revelation still lingered. And just like that, the man who had stood by the Prophet in life and in death, who had been his shadow and shield, returned to the dust, leaving behind the unshakable imprint of a friend who never wavered, a leader who never faltered, and a believer who never doubted. In Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, the Ummah found its anchor. Through him, the transition from prophecy to leadership was made not with grandeur, but with grace. He proved that true strength is quiet, and true leadership is rooted not in power, but in unwavering devotion to truth. When Umar ibn al-Khattab became the second caliph of Islam, the world already knew his name. Before Islam, he was known for his strength, his fierce temper, and his commanding presence in Quraysh society. But when the light of Islam entered his heart, it transformed him into something greater. The same fire that once fueled his opposition to the Prophet Muhammad now burned with unwavering devotion to truth, justice, and the service of Allah. His acceptance of Islam was not just a personal turning point, it was a moment that shook the hearts of the disbelievers. The Muslims, once forced to hide their faith, marched publicly to the Kaaba behind Umar, who declared to the world that Islam no longer belonged in the shadows. When Abu Bakr passed away and appointed Umar as his successor, there was hesitation among some companions. They remembered his firmness, his sharp words, and his unyielding nature. But Abu Bakr saw beyond that. He saw a man who feared Allah more than he feared the world. He saw a leader whose strength would become the shield of the Ummah in a time of expansion, challenges, and rapid change. As Caliph, Umar's reign was marked by transformation. The Islamic State, once centered in Medina, was rapidly growing. Lands were opening: Persia, Egypt, the Levant. But conquest was never Umar's goal. Justice was. He didn't seek to expand the empire through cruelty or greed, but through the message of Islam and the establishment of just governance. Every inch of new territory came with the responsibility of administering it with fairness and wisdom. And Umar rose to that task with brilliance and humility. He walked among the people at night, disguised, listening to their needs, their complaints, their cries. He established a welfare system, ensuring that no one in the Muslim lands would sleep hungry. Widows, orphans, and the poor received stipends from the public treasury. He appointed judges across the provinces, separating judicial authority from the military and executive branches. He introduced a system of accountability where governors and officials could be questioned and even dismissed if they misused power. No one was above the law, not even himself. One of the most profound stories of his leadership came during a time of severe famine. Umar, who had once enjoyed the simple luxury of meat and oil, refused to eat anything beyond dry bread and olive oil until the people were fed. His cheeks grew hollow and his face pale. When asked why he did this, he replied, "How can I be concerned with the needs of my people if I do not taste their hunger?" His leadership was not performed from a throne, but from the front lines of hardship. Umar's humility was legendary. Once, a man came from afar and could not distinguish Umar from the common people. He found him sleeping beneath a tree, covered only by his cloak, with no guards in sight. The man wept, saying, "You ruled with justice, so you sleep in peace." That was the essence of Umar's caliphate. Power never changed him, the world never softened him, and fear of Allah never left him. Under his leadership, the Muslim army did not merely conquer, it liberated. When Jerusalem was surrendered to the Muslims, its Christian leaders requested that the Caliph himself come to receive the keys of the city. Umar traveled from Medina, riding a humble camel with a single servant, alternating who rode and who walked. When they reached the city, it was the servant's turn to ride, and Umar walked barefoot, his clothes dusty and patched. The people of Jerusalem watched in awe, expecting a man of gold and armor, but witnessing a servant of God who embodied humility. He entered the city not as a tyrant, but as a guardian of its sacred trust. When offered a place to pray inside the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, he refused, not out of disrespect, but to preserve its status for the Christians. He chose instead to pray outside, ensuring that future Muslims would not lay claim to the church as a mosque. His wisdom in that single moment echoes through centuries of interfaith coexistence. Umar also pioneered many civil systems. He introduced the Islamic calendar, counting from the Hijrah. He created a census, established administrative provinces, and began public works like roads, canals, and rest stops for travelers. He organized a national registry of soldiers and their salaries. He even appointed a special department to investigate complaints against public officials. These were not just policies. They were manifestations of his deep commitment to justice and the welfare of the Ummah. But his time would not last forever. In the final years of his rule, while leading the Fajr prayer in the Prophet's mosque, Umar was attacked by a Persian slave named Abu Lu'lu'a. The blade was poisoned and the wounds were deep. As he lay in his final days, he did not ask for vengeance. He asked if his debt was settled, if the people were satisfied with his leadership, and if he would be allowed to be buried beside his two beloved companions, Prophet Muhammad and Abu Bakr. His final request was granted, and he was laid to rest beside the very men who shaped his journey from opposition to leadership. Umar ibn al-Khattab was not just a caliph. He was a reformer, a visionary, and a servant of truth. He took the raw materials of a new faith and built a civilization upon them, one that would inspire generations. Through his justice, his humility, and his unbreakable fear of Allah, he became a beacon for what Islamic leadership could and should be. His shadow still stretches across the corridors of history, reminding us that the heart of a leader must always beat with mercy, courage, and accountability. When Uthman ibn Affan accepted Islam, he did so not with hesitation or resistance, but with the quiet clarity that would define his entire life. Born into the wealthy and respected Umayyad clan, Uthman had everything a man could want: status, riches, and comfort. Yet when the call of Islam reached him, he did not cling to worldly attachments. He left behind ease for truth and wealth for the path of service. His soft voice, gentle nature, and modesty concealed a core of unshakable faith. He became one of the earliest converts, and from that moment onward, he never wavered. His devotion was unmatched in generosity. Uthman gave freely in the way of Allah, often without being asked. During the difficult days of the Tabuk expedition, when the Muslim army lacked supplies, Uthman rose and gave hundreds of camels and gold coins. The Prophet, moved by his sincerity, declared, "Nothing Uthman does after today will harm him." His contributions weren't just material. They were spiritual offerings rooted in a heart that saw wealth not as power, but as a trust to be used for the Ummah. Uthman's love for the Prophet was personal and deep. He married not one, but two of the Prophet's daughters, one after the other, earning him the title Dhul Nurayn, the possessor of two lights. When his first wife Ruqayya passed away, the Prophet offered his other daughter, Kulthum, to him in marriage. There was no other man honored in such a way. The Prophet once said that even the angels were shy before Uthman. He carried himself with such gentleness and modesty that those around him instinctively lowered their voices and softened their demeanor in his presence. When Umar ibn al-Khattab was martyred, the choice of the next caliph came with great caution. A council of 6 companions was formed to decide who would carry the torch of leadership. After careful deliberation, all eyes turned to Uthman. He was known not only for his piety and kindness, but for his deep sense of duty and justice. Though leadership was never his desire, he accepted the role with humility, knowing that the responsibility was heavier than gold. Uthman's caliphate began with blessings and expansion. Islam's reach grew across North Africa, deeper into Persia, and toward the borders of the Byzantine Empire. But with growth came challenges. As the diversity of the Muslim world increased, so too did the differences in language, dialect, and culture. One of the most pressing issues that arose during his time was the variation in Quranic recitation. People in far-off regions were beginning to dispute over how verses were to be read. The unity of the Muslim Ummah was being threatened, not by external enemies, but by internal confusion. Uthman took a decisive step that would forever shape Islamic history. After consulting with companions, he ordered the standardization of the Qur'an. Using the manuscript that had been compiled under Abu Bakr and preserved with Hafsa bint Umar, Uthman appointed a committee led by Zayd ibn Thabit to make copies in the Qurayshi dialect, the dialect of the Prophet. Once complete, these standardized mushafs were sent to key cities across the Muslim world. All other personal copies and regional variations were respectfully collected and destroyed to prevent further discord. This act, though controversial in the moment, was a visionary move. It preserved the unity of the Qur'an and ensured that every Muslim, regardless of location, recited the same words, unified, unchanged, and protected. To this day, the Qur'an as we know it is the direct result of Uthman's action. Yet the later years of Uthman's reign were not filled with the peace his character reflected. As wealth entered the Muslim lands and the early simplicity of the Madinan days faded, so too did the contentment of some hearts. Distant provinces grew restless. Some began to accuse Uthman of favoritism, claiming he appointed family members to governorships. Though many of these accusations lacked context or understanding, unrest grew. Uthman, ever gentle, believed in reconciliation and patience. He did not respond with force. He did not imprison dissenters. Instead, he opened his doors and welcomed dialogue, hoping to calm tensions through love, not fear. But the storm that was brewing could not be stilled by kindness alone. A group of rebels from Egypt and Iraq made their way to Medina. They surrounded Uthman's house, cutting off food and water. The companions of the Prophet, including Ali ibn Abi Talib, tried to mediate and protect him. Uthman, however, forbade anyone from shedding Muslim blood in his name. He knew that fighting back would spark civil war. And so he waited, he prayed, he fasted, and he read the Qur'an. It was during one of those days, with the Qur'an in his lap, that the rebels stormed his home. They struck him as he recited, and his blood spilled onto the sacred pages. The verse upon which his blood fell read, "And Allah will suffice you against them, and He is the hearing, the knowing." Surah Al-Baqarah 2:137. His life ended in the most sacred of acts: worship, patience, and submission to Allah. He did not die a failed ruler. He died a martyr, holding on to the very book he worked so hard to preserve. Uthman ibn Affan's legacy is one of quiet strength. He was not loud nor confrontational. He did not command with force, but with humility and faith. In his silence, he protected the unity of the Qur'an. In his softness, he bore the burden of leadership in one of the most tumultuous times in Islamic history. He showed that sometimes the greatest strength is not in raising your voice, but in holding firm to principle when the world around you begins to crumble. Through his life and death, Uthman left behind a legacy written not just in ink and parchment, but in the hearts of generations. Ali ibn Abi Talib was no stranger to the earliest moments of Islam. As a child, he lived under the same roof as the Prophet Muhammad, raised in his household, fed by his hands, and shaped by his wisdom. He was the first youth to embrace Islam, committing himself to the new faith without hesitation or doubt. From a tender age, he demonstrated a courage that far surpassed his years. When danger loomed, it was Ali who stepped forward, fearless and devoted. During the Hijrah, as the Quraysh plotted to assassinate the Prophet, it was Ali who lay in his bed that night, knowing the assassins were coming, willing to risk his life to ensure the Prophet's escape. That was the essence of Ali's character: selfless, bold, and utterly loyal. As Islam grew, so did Ali's legacy. In every battle, he stood at the forefront. At Badr, Uhud, Khandaq, and Khaybar, his sword never wavered, and his heart never faltered. When others hesitated, Ali advanced. The Prophet once declared, "Tomorrow, I will give the banner to a man who loves Allah and His Messenger, and Allah and His Messenger love him." That man was Ali. His strength in battle was unmatched, but it was his deep understanding of justice, his eloquence, and his humility that made him more than a warrior. He was the embodiment of knowledge guided by faith. The Prophet called him the gate of knowledge, for his understanding of the Qur'an and the law was unparalleled. His wisdom, sharp and poetic, was drawn from both intellect and divine light. When Uthman ibn Affan was assassinated, the Muslim Ummah trembled with uncertainty. The once united body was fracturing under the weight of anger, confusion, and political tension. All eyes turned to Ali. The people of Medina pleaded with him to take the role of Caliph, to guide the Ummah through the storm. Ali did not seek power. He never had. But seeing the peril the community faced, he accepted, not for authority, but for duty. From the very beginning, his caliphate was challenged not by external enemies, but by the wounds left from Uthman's assassination. The blood of the third caliph had not yet dried, and already factions formed, some demanding immediate justice, others calling for stability. Ali stood at the center of this turmoil, a man of truth surrounded by voices of rage. The early days of his rule were spent trying to restore order, to remind the Ummah of its shared values. Ali moved the capital to Kufa, a strategic and political decision meant to strengthen his position in a time of growing unrest. Yet even as he tried to heal divisions, conflict erupted. The first major trial came with the Battle of the Camel, where two prominent companions, Aisha bint Abi Bakr and Talha ibn Ubaidullah, led a contingent demanding vengeance for Uthman's death. Ali, grieved by the confrontation, sought peace, but misunderstanding and manipulation led to bloodshed. Even in war, Ali restrained his forces, forbidding them from harming the wounded, chasing the fleeing, or looting the camps. His aim was never victory for ego, but justice with mercy. Another painful chapter followed with the Battle of Siffin, a confrontation with Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan, the governor of Syria and relative of Uthman. Muawiyah refused to pledge allegiance to Ali unless the murderers of Uthman were brought to justice. The battle ended not in decisive victory but in arbitration, an agreement that ultimately weakened Ali's position and split his supporters. Out of that split rose the Khawarij, an extremist group that turned against both Ali and Muawiyah, declaring anyone who did not meet their rigid definitions of righteousness to be a disbeliever. Ali, always principled, refused to give in to extremism or political convenience. He confronted the Khawarij at Nahrawan, reluctantly engaging them in battle only after all efforts at reconciliation had failed. Through all this turmoil, Ali remained a pillar of integrity. His governance was marked by an uncompromising sense of justice. He treated the poor and the wealthy with equal fairness. He walked the streets at night, tending to the needy. He lived simply, often patching his own clothes and eating the coarsest food. He did not seek riches or comfort in power. Rather, he carried its burdens with humility. His letters to his governors are still studied today, filled with profound instructions on ethics, justice, and the responsibilities of leadership. In one such letter to Malik al-Ashtar, his appointed governor of Egypt, Ali wrote, "Remember, O Malik, that you are a servant of Allah and you are appointed over the people. So do not become a predator over them." But his time as caliph was destined to end in heartbreak. One morning, as he entered the mosque for Fajr prayer in Kufa, a man named Abdurrahman ibn Muljam, a member of the Khawarij, lay in wait. As Ali bowed in prostration, the assassin struck him with a poisoned sword. The wound was fatal. In his final moments, Ali was calm. He uttered the words, "By the Lord of the Kaaba, I have succeeded." Even in death, he remained focused not on this world, but on the next. Ali ibn Abi Talib's life was not defined by the throne he held, but by the truth he lived. He was a scholar, a warrior, a poet, and a judge. He was the voice of conscience in an age of chaos. While others fought for power, he stood for principle. While others chased wealth, he walked in humility. His legacy is not written only in history books, but etched into the soul of Islam. Through his trials, we see the cost of truth. Through his strength, we understand the meaning of sacrifice. Through his leadership, we glimpse the depth of prophetic guidance lived fully in a man devoted to Allah above all else. The lives of Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and Ali were not simply chapters in history. They were luminous beacons guiding a fledgling Ummah through its most fragile and formative years. Though each caliph walked a different path, their hearts were aligned in purpose. They were men of vastly different temperaments. Abu Bakr's quiet resolve, Umar's fiery sense of justice, Uthman's soft-spoken generosity, and Ali's deep intellect and unwavering principle. But they were united by one thing: a love for the Prophet and a devotion to the path he left behind. Their leadership was not fueled by ambition, wealth, or worldly conquest. It was built upon trust, fear of Allah, and responsibility to the people. Each of them carried the weight of the Ummah not on their shoulders alone, but in their hearts. They prayed for it, wept for it, and gave everything they had, some even their lives, to preserve its unity and uphold the legacy of the Prophet. They did not rule to be served, but to serve. In their decisions, their sacrifices, and even in their deaths, they left behind a template for what righteous leadership looks like. In times of doubt, we return to their examples. In moments of confusion, we recall their clarity. In a world often searching for direction, their stories remain timeless, powerful, and necessary. Together, they were not just four leaders. They were four lights, distinct in color, yet shining upon the same path, a path carved not by sword or crown, but by faith, truth, and submission to Allah. And for those who follow their footsteps with sincerity, that path still shines today, leading not only through the trials of this world, but toward the eternal peace of the next. During the first few days of fasting during Ramadan, the body undergoes a significant shift as it begins adapting to the absence of food and water for extended hours. This initial phase is often the most challenging, as the body must transition from its usual eating routine to relying on stored energy sources. One of the first physiological changes that occur is a drop in blood sugar levels. Since the body is no longer receiving a steady intake of carbohydrates, glucose reserves start depleting rapidly. This leads to a temporary state of low energy, causing feelings of weakness, dizziness, and in some cases, headaches. Many people also experience irritability and mood swings as their bodies struggle to maintain normal function while adjusting to a new metabolic state. Another common effect during this stage is a drop in blood pressure. The absence of regular hydration and food intake can cause blood volume to decrease slightly, leading to symptoms such as lightheadedness, fatigue, and difficulty concentrating. For individuals who are accustomed to drinking coffee or tea regularly, caffeine withdrawal can further exacerbate these symptoms, resulting in headaches and increased irritability. Dehydration, especially in hot climates or for those who engage in physical activity during fasting hours, can also contribute to feelings of fatigue and sluggishness. The body's natural response to this sudden shift is to conserve energy, which may cause some people to feel unusually tired or experience difficulty staying alert throughout the day. Hunger pangs are also at their peak during this stage, as the stomach continues to produce digestive acids in anticipation of food that is not coming. This can cause mild discomfort, along with occasional nausea for some individuals. The body's internal clock, which is used to receiving meals at regular intervals, suddenly finds itself out of sync, triggering cravings and an increased focus on food. The psychological aspect of fasting plays a significant role in these first few days, as the mind grapples with the challenge of resisting habitual urges to eat and drink. This period requires strong self-discipline and patience, as the discomfort is only temporary and will gradually fade as the body adjusts. Despite these initial challenges, the first stage of fasting is crucial for initiating the body's natural detoxification process. Since the digestive system is given a break from constantly processing food, the body can redirect its energy toward cleansing and repairing cells. Toxins that have built up from processed foods, artificial additives, and environmental pollutants begin to be flushed out. The liver, which is responsible for detoxifying the body, starts working more efficiently, breaking down stored fat into usable energy. This process, known as ketosis, helps the body transition into a fat-burning mode, which can be beneficial for weight management and overall metabolic health. Managing this phase effectively requires a careful approach to suhoor and iftar. It is essential to consume slow-digesting foods during suhoor, such as complex carbohydrates, fiber-rich fruits, and proteins, which can provide sustained energy throughout the day. Hydration is also key, as drinking plenty of water before and after fasting hours helps counteract dehydration. Avoiding excessive caffeine and processed foods can make the transition smoother and reduce the likelihood of withdrawal symptoms. Additionally, getting adequate sleep plays a crucial role in minimizing fatigue and maintaining alertness. Although it is common for people to reduce their sleep hours to accommodate night prayers and additional acts of worship, ensuring at least 6 hours of rest is essential for physical and mental well-being. This early phase of fasting, though difficult, lays the foundation for the body's gradual adaptation to the new routine. As the days progress, the initial symptoms begin to subside, paving the way for increased energy levels, improved focus, and a deeper sense of self-discipline. The first few days serve as a reminder of the body's resilience and ability to adjust to new conditions, reinforcing the spiritual and physical rewards of fasting. As the body moves past the initial shock of fasting, it begins to enter a phase of adaptation where the physical discomforts of hunger and fatigue start to subside. The digestive system, which is usually active throughout the day in processing food, now has a significant period of rest. This period allows the body to redirect its energy toward healing and repair. With food intake limited to specific hours, the stomach and intestines experience a break from their constant workload. This rest period plays a crucial role in improving digestion and overall gut health. As the body no longer needs to focus on breaking down and absorbing food, it shifts its energy towards cellular maintenance, making the repair process more efficient. During this phase, the body begins to stabilize and adjust to its new routine. The intense hunger pangs that characterize the first few days gradually fade as the body learns to function with prolonged fasting hours. The metabolism starts to optimize itself, becoming more efficient in utilizing stored fats for energy. With the absence of constant food intake, insulin levels remain stable, reducing spikes and crashes in blood sugar. This regulation helps in improving overall metabolic health, making it easier for the body to maintain a steady supply of energy without relying on frequent meals. The feeling of exhaustion also diminishes, and many people begin to experience a newfound sense of alertness and mental clarity. The brain, no longer preoccupied with digestion, shifts into a state of increased focus, allowing for better concentration and cognitive function. The immune system also begins to strengthen during this phase. With the body prioritizing internal healing, white blood cells become more active, helping to fight off potential infections and enhancing overall immunity. This regeneration process contributes to the body's ability to repair damaged tissues and eliminate harmful toxins. Organs such as the liver and kidneys function more effectively, aiding in the detoxification process. As toxins are gradually expelled from the body, individuals often report feeling lighter and more rejuvenated. The skin, which is also involved in the elimination of toxins, may begin to show signs of improvement, becoming clearer and more radiant as impurities are flushed out. While the body is busy adjusting internally, the mind also undergoes changes. The initial struggles with irritability and mood swings start to settle as hormone levels stabilize. Many people experience an improved sense of patience and emotional balance as the body adapts to the fasting routine. The increased discipline required to refrain from food and drink strengthens mental resilience, fostering a sense of self-control and mindfulness. Instead of being consumed by hunger, individuals often find themselves more engaged in spiritual reflection and personal growth. This stage marks the beginning of a deeper connection between physical well-being and mental discipline, reinforcing the holistic benefits of fasting. As this phase progresses, energy levels become more sustained, allowing for greater participation in daily activities without feeling excessively drained. People often notice that their sleep patterns improve as well, leading to better rest and recovery. With the body now working in harmony with the fasting schedule, this period sets the stage for even greater benefits in the days to come. The body's ability to repair and rejuvenate itself becomes more pronounced, preparing it for the next phase of fasting where these effects will be further amplified. By the third stage of fasting, the body has undergone a significant transformation, and the discomforts experienced in the early days have mostly faded. Energy levels begin to stabilize, and many individuals notice an improvement in their overall sense of well-being. With the body now fully adapted to the fasting routine, metabolism operates more efficiently, making better use of stored fats and nutrients. This shift leads to a more balanced and sustained level of energy throughout the day. The mental fog and sluggishness that were present at the start are replaced by heightened focus and clarity. The brain, having adjusted to the fasting state, begins to function at its peak, promoting better memory retention and increased concentration. As the body continues its healing process, detoxification reaches its peak. The liver, kidneys, lungs, and skin work together to eliminate toxins that have accumulated over time. The absence of constant food intake allows these organs to prioritize cleansing and regeneration. The digestive system, now accustomed to long periods of rest, functions more effectively, absorbing nutrients more efficiently when food is consumed. Inflammation in the body begins to decrease, and the immune system becomes stronger as white blood cells actively combat infections and promote cellular repair. This natural detoxification process helps to rid the body of harmful substances, leaving individuals feeling lighter and more refreshed. During this stage, cell regeneration reaches a higher level of efficiency. The body actively repairs damaged cells, promoting faster healing and recovery. This process is particularly beneficial for individuals with minor injuries or chronic inflammation, as the body prioritizes restoring balance and strengthening its natural defenses. The production of new, healthier cells contributes to improved skin quality, reducing blemishes and giving the skin a clearer, more radiant appearance. This cellular renewal also enhances muscle recovery, making it easier to maintain physical activity and daily movement without excessive fatigue. As the body becomes more adept at burning stored fat for energy, many individuals experience a noticeable reduction in excess weight. This transition not only aids in weight management, but also helps regulate cholesterol and blood sugar levels. With a steadier supply of energy derived from fat stores, individuals report feeling more physically capable and less prone to sudden drops in energy. The reduction in unhealthy fat reserves leads to improved cardiovascular health, lowering the risk of heart-related issues in the long run. The balance in insulin levels also contributes to better metabolic function, reducing the likelihood of conditions such as diabetes. In addition to the physical benefits, the psychological and emotional state of individuals improve significantly during this stage. With the body functioning optimally, stress levels decrease, and an overall sense of calmness prevails. The discipline of fasting fosters a deeper connection to mindfulness and self-awareness, making it easier to manage emotions and maintain a positive outlook. Feelings of irritability and impatience that were common in the early days diminish, replaced by a heightened sense of self-control and inner peace. Many individuals find themselves more engaged in spiritual reflection, personal growth, and acts of kindness, reinforcing the holistic benefits of fasting. This stage represents a turning point where the body operates at its highest efficiency, repairing itself while maintaining sustained energy levels. The balance between physical, mental, and emotional well-being becomes more apparent, allowing individuals to experience the true power of fasting. With the body now functioning at its optimal state, this phase sets the foundation for the final days of Ramadan, where the benefits of fasting reach their peak and overall health is at its best. As Ramadan enters its final 10 days, the body has fully adapted to the fasting routine and a remarkable transformation takes place. What once felt like a challenge now seems natural, and instead of feeling depleted, there is a surge in energy and mental clarity. The body has become highly efficient in regulating energy levels, relying on fat stores as a sustainable fuel source. The early struggles with hunger and fatigue have faded, replaced by a steady sense of alertness and vitality. Many individuals find that their ability to concentrate and retain information has improved significantly, making it easier to engage in prayer, reflection, and daily activities with heightened focus. The healing processes that began earlier in the month now reach their peak. Cellular repair is at its most effective stage, with the body rapidly regenerating tissues and removing damaged cells. This enhanced ability to heal not only benefits internal organs, but also contributes to the overall rejuvenation of the skin, hair, and muscles. The liver, which has been actively detoxifying the body throughout the fasting period, continues its work at maximum capacity, ensuring that harmful toxins are eliminated. With the digestive system still in a state of rest, the body directs its resources towards strengthening the immune system, making it more resilient against illnesses and infections. One of the most notable changes in this phase is the increased sense of mental and emotional well-being. The fasting experience, once dominated by physical adaptation, now becomes deeply spiritual and introspective. The discipline and patience cultivated throughout the month create a sense of inner peace and self-awareness. Feelings of stress and anxiety diminish as the mind embraces mindfulness and gratitude. Many individuals find themselves more attuned to their thoughts and emotions, experiencing a profound connection between body and spirit. This heightened state of awareness allows for deeper engagement in prayer, meditation, and acts of kindness. As the body completes its detoxification process, metabolism stabilizes, ensuring that energy is sustained throughout the day without the highs and lows associated with fluctuating blood sugar levels. Fat burning remains efficient, contributing to long-term health benefits such as improved cholesterol levels and better cardiovascular function. The absence of excessive processed foods and unhealthy eating habits further supports overall well-being, reinforcing the importance of maintaining a balanced diet even beyond Ramadan. By this stage, sleep patterns have also improved, allowing for better rest and recovery, which further enhances cognitive function and mood stability. With the final days of Ramadan being spiritually significant, many people push themselves to engage in additional worship and charitable acts. The increased energy and clarity make it easier to stay awake for night prayers, reflecting on the deeper purpose of fasting. The combination of physical renewal and spiritual elevation creates a sense of accomplishment and fulfillment. The body, having undergone a complete reset, functions at its highest potential, free from the toxins and fatigue that weighed it down at the start of the month. This phase represents the culmination of the fasting journey, where the benefits extend beyond physical health, shaping a stronger, more disciplined, and spiritually enriched individual. As the body undergoes profound physical changes during fasting, the mind and soul also experience a transformation that is equally, if not more, significant. Fasting during Ramadan is not merely an act of abstaining from food and drink. It is a spiritual journey that strengthens faith, cultivates discipline, and deepens one's connection to a higher purpose. The act of willingly restraining from physical needs fosters self-control, patience, and a heightened sense of mindfulness. By breaking away from the daily indulgences that often dominate life, the individual becomes more conscious of their actions, emotions, and intentions. This awareness extends beyond the act of fasting itself, influencing one's thoughts, behaviors, and interactions with others. A profound sense of gratitude emerges as the days progress. The temporary deprivation of food and water brings a deeper appreciation for the blessings that are often taken for granted. Simple acts, such as drinking a glass of water or eating a date at sunset, become sources of immense joy and satisfaction. This renewed sense of gratitude shifts the focus from material possessions and worldly desires to a more meaningful perspective on life. The realization that many people endure hunger and thirst daily without choice fosters empathy and compassion, inspiring acts of charity and kindness. The giving nature of Ramadan, through feeding the less fortunate and offering support to those in need, strengthens the sense of community and social responsibility. As the body detoxifies, the mind also experiences a purification process. The heightened self-awareness that comes with fasting encourages introspection and self-reflection. Many find themselves more in tune with their thoughts and emotions, gaining clarity on personal strengths, weaknesses, and areas for growth. The removal of distractions, including excessive consumption and indulgence, allows for a deeper focus on spiritual practices such as prayer, reading, and meditation. This period of increased devotion creates a sense of inner peace and tranquility, reducing stress and anxiety. The act of surrendering to a higher power and embracing patience instills resilience, enabling individuals to handle challenges with greater composure and strength. The psychological benefits of fasting extend beyond emotional regulation. With increased discipline and self-restraint, the mind becomes stronger and more capable of resisting negative impulses. Bad habits that once seemed impossible to break begin to lose their grip, replaced by healthier and more constructive routines. Fasting serves as a mental reset, reinforcing the importance of moderation and balance in all aspects of life. By controlling physical urges, individuals gain mastery over their desires, leading to improved decision-making and a greater sense of purpose. This newfound control spills over into daily life, helping to develop consistency and perseverance in both spiritual and personal endeavors. As Ramadan progresses, the sense of fulfillment and spiritual elevation becomes more pronounced. The combination of physical purification, mental clarity, and emotional stability creates a state of inner harmony. The fast no longer feels like an obligation, but rather a source of spiritual enrichment and self-discovery. This experience leaves a lasting impact, shaping one's character and perspective long after the fasting period ends. The essence of Ramadan is not just in the avoidance of food and drink, but in the transformation of the heart and soul, fostering a deeper connection to faith, community, and personal growth. As the month of Ramadan comes to an end, the fasting journey reveals itself to be more than just a physical exercise. It becomes a transformative experience that impacts the body, mind, and soul in profound ways. What begins as a challenging adjustment to hunger and thirst gradually turns into a process of healing and renewal. The body, initially struggling to adapt, learns to function efficiently without the constant intake of food. The digestive system, once in a state of constant activity, experiences much-needed rest, allowing the body to redirect its energy toward detoxification, cellular repair, and immune strengthening. With each passing day, the body refines its mechanisms, becoming more resilient, energetic, and efficient. Beyond the physical benefits, fasting brings about a deep mental and emotional shift. The discipline required to endure long hours without food and water fosters patience, self-restraint, and resilience. The initial struggles with cravings and fatigue transform into a sense of mastery over one's own impulses. The ability to delay gratification strengthens willpower, making it easier to break free from unhealthy habits and adopt a more mindful approach to daily life. The clarity that comes from fasting extends beyond physical awareness, sharpening focus, improving memory, and enhancing the ability to concentrate. Many find themselves more present in their thoughts, more aware of their emotions, and more in control of their reactions. The spiritual journey of fasting is perhaps the most profound aspect of the entire experience. As the body purifies itself, the soul embarks on a journey of introspection, self-discovery, and devotion. The act of fasting serves as a reminder of the blessings that are often overlooked in everyday life. The temporary deprivation of food and water deepens one's appreciation for even the simplest sustenance, fostering a renewed sense of gratitude. This gratitude extends to all aspects of life, encouraging generosity, kindness, and compassion for others. The awareness of those who experience hunger and hardship on a daily basis inspires a sense of responsibility to give, serve, and uplift those in need. The connection between fasting and spiritual elevation becomes even more apparent in the final days of Ramadan. With the body operating at peak efficiency and the mind in a state of heightened awareness, many experience an unparalleled sense of peace and fulfillment. The dedication to prayer, reflection, and self-improvement deepens, bringing a sense of closeness to a higher power. The struggles of the early days of fasting seem distant, replaced by a sense of accomplishment and renewal. The journey of Ramadan is not just about abstaining from food, but about achieving a balance between the physical, mental, and spiritual dimensions of life. The discipline cultivated throughout the month extends beyond Ramadan, influencing habits, perspectives, and priorities long after the fast is ended. As fasting concludes, there is a realization that its true essence is not confined to a single month, but serves as a blueprint for a more conscious, disciplined, and grateful way of living. The lessons learned during this period continue to shape attitudes and behaviors, fostering a lifestyle that prioritizes moderation, mindfulness, and self-improvement. Ramadan is a time of transformation, where the body is cleansed, the mind is strengthened, and the soul is uplifted. The experience leaves a lasting impact, serving as a reminder that true nourishment goes beyond food and water. It is found in self-discipline, inner peace, and the pursuit of a meaningful and compassionate life. Eid al-Fitr is one of the most joyful and widely celebrated holidays in the world, marking the end of Ramadan, a month of fasting, prayer, and spiritual reflection for Muslims. It is a time of immense happiness, gratitude, and togetherness as families and communities come together to break their fast and offer prayers. Yet, despite its significance, many people are unaware of some truly fascinating aspects of Eid al-Fitr that go beyond the usual celebrations of feasting, gift-giving, and charity. This festival is far more than just a religious occasion. It is a deeply rooted tradition that carries historical, cultural, and even astronomical significance. Unlike fixed holidays that follow a solar calendar, Eid al-Fitr is determined by the sighting of the crescent moon, meaning that its date varies each year. In different parts of the world, Muslims may celebrate Eid on slightly different days depending on moon sightings and local traditions. This variation has sparked debates and even led to some countries adopting astronomical calculations rather than relying solely on physical moon sightings. But the shifting date is just the beginning of the surprises surrounding this special day. For many, Eid al-Fitr is associated with delicious meals and sweet treats. But not everyone knows that it is actually forbidden to fast on this day. After a month of self-restraint and discipline, Muslims are encouraged to begin their day with a light meal before attending communal prayers, emphasizing the festival's theme of renewal and gratitude. Beyond the religious aspects, Eid is also a time of economic and cultural significance. From bustling marketplaces selling new clothes and gifts to unique national customs that have evolved over centuries, the celebration takes on different flavors across the world. In this video, we'll explore 10 surprising facts about Eid al-Fitr that you may not have heard before. From royal traditions and charitable acts to unique global customs, these fascinating details will give you a fresh perspective on this beautiful festival. Whether you celebrate Eid or are simply curious about its rich traditions, you'll find that there's much more to this holiday than meets the eye. Eid al-Fitr is a festival that never falls on the same date each year, making it one of the most unpredictable celebrations in the world. Unlike fixed holidays that follow the Gregorian calendar, Eid follows the Islamic lunar calendar, which is approximately 10 to 11 days shorter than the solar year. This means that the date of Eid gradually shifts backward each year, sometimes occurring in different seasons throughout a person's lifetime. A child born in a year when Eid falls in the spring may, decades later, celebrate it in the middle of winter. The uncertainty of Eid's date is further complicated by the method used to determine its arrival. Unlike many other holidays that have predetermined dates, Eid begins with the sighting of the new moon. This means that religious scholars and observers must physically see the crescent moon after sunset on the 29th day of Ramadan to declare the start of Eid. If the moon is not visible due to weather conditions or other factors, then Ramadan is extended by one more day, and Eid is celebrated on the 30th day. This practice leads to variations in celebration dates, even within the same country, as different regions may report moon sightings at different times. The debate over whether to follow actual moon sightings or rely on astronomical calculations has been ongoing for years. Some countries, like Saudi Arabia, strictly adhere to physical moon sightings, while others, such as Turkey and Malaysia, use scientific calculations to determine the exact date in advance. This difference has occasionally led to situations where Muslims in one country celebrate Eid, while those in neighboring regions continue fasting. Despite these variations, the spirit of Eid remains the same, an occasion for joy, gratitude, and the renewal of faith, regardless of when it officially begins. The name Eid al-Fitr carries deep meaning, reflecting the essence of this joyous occasion. In Arabic, Eid means festival or celebration, while Fitr comes from the word for breaking a fast. This holiday marks the end of Ramadan, a month of fasting, self-restraint, and spiritual reflection, and serves as a day of gratitude and renewal. Unlike the daily fasts of Ramadan, which begin at dawn and end at sunset, Eid is unique in that fasting is actually forbidden. This distinction highlights the transition from a period of discipline and self-denial to one of joy, generosity, and togetherness. The significance of breaking the fast on Eid al-Fitr goes beyond simply resuming normal eating habits. It is a symbolic act that represents the completion of a spiritual journey, a reward for enduring hunger and thirst while deepening one's connection to faith. It is a moment of collective celebration, where families and friends gather for a special breakfast, often consisting of sweet dishes to signify happiness and gratitude. In many cultures, the day begins with the consumption of dates or other light foods, following the tradition of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, who encouraged breaking the fast in a modest and meaningful way before heading to the Eid prayer. This festival is not just about personal joy, but also about ensuring that others can partake in the celebrations. One of the key requirements before Eid prayer is the giving of Zakat al-Fitr, a charitable donation intended to help those in need. This ensures that even the less fortunate can have food on their table and share in the festive spirit. The name Eid al-Fitr is not just a label. It is a profound reminder of the values of compassion, gratitude, and community that define this sacred celebration. One of the most important aspects of Eid al-Fitr is the act of giving, and no celebration is complete without fulfilling the obligation of Zakat al-Fitr. Unlike regular charity, which can be given at any time, Zakat al-Fitr is a special form of almsgiving that must be distributed before the Eid prayer. This mandatory donation is a crucial part of the celebration, ensuring that everyone, regardless of their financial situation, has the means to participate in the joy of Eid. It is not simply an act of kindness, but a religious duty upon all Muslims who can afford to give. The purpose of Zakat al-Fitr goes beyond just helping the poor. It serves as a way to purify the fast of Ramadan. After a month of spiritual devotion, self-discipline, and abstaining from food and drink, it is believed that no fast is entirely perfect. There may be moments of impatience, unkind words, or unintentional mistakes. Zakat al-Fitr acts as a form of purification, cleansing any shortcomings in one's fasting and ensuring that the blessings of Ramadan are fully realized. It is a final act of generosity before transitioning into the festivities of Eid. The donation itself is traditionally given in the form of staple food items such as rice, wheat, barley, or dates, enough to provide sustenance for a person in need. In many modern societies, however, it is often given in the form of money, allowing charitable organizations to distribute food efficiently. The amount required varies depending on the country and economic conditions, but it is generally equivalent to the cost of one meal per person in the household. Every Muslim, including children, is required to have their Zakat al-Fitr paid on their behalf by a responsible family member. The timing of this charitable act is crucial. If given before the Eid prayer, it is considered Zakat al-Fitr, fulfilling its intended purpose. However, if it is given after the prayer, it is merely considered a regular charity. This distinction highlights the importance of punctuality in performing religious duties. By ensuring that those in need have food and resources before the celebration begins, Eid al-Fitr remains a festival of inclusivity, joy, and shared blessings for all. Eid al-Fitr is a time of communal unity, and one of the most striking traditions of this celebration is the Eid prayer, which is often performed in large open spaces rather than inside mosques. This special prayer, known as Salat al-Eid, brings together vast congregations of worshippers, symbolizing the unity and togetherness of the Muslim community. The tradition of holding Eid prayers in open areas dates back to the time of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, who encouraged Muslims to gather in large spaces to accommodate as many people as possible. This practice remains a hallmark of Eid celebrations in many parts of the world today. The choice of open spaces for the Eid prayer is not merely a matter of convenience, but carries deep spiritual and communal significance. Unlike the daily 5 prayers, which can be performed individually or in small groups, the Eid prayer is meant to be a grand gathering, bringing together people from different backgrounds, neighborhoods, and social classes. The sight of thousands, sometimes even millions, of people standing shoulder to shoulder in unity is a powerful reminder of the strength and togetherness of the Muslim community. In many countries, these prayers take place in designated Eidgahs, which are large fields or stadiums specifically used for this purpose. In cities with smaller Muslim populations, open parks or public squares may serve as gathering points. Iconic locations such as Masjid al-Haram in Mecca, the Sheikh Zayed Grand Mosque in Abu Dhabi, and the Badshahi Mosque in Lahore witnessed some of the largest Eid congregations in the world, with worshippers traveling from different regions to participate. The structure of the Eid prayer itself is slightly different from regular daily prayers. It consists of 2 rakats, units of prayer, with extra takbirs, praises of Allah, followed by a sermon reminding worshippers of the values of gratitude, generosity, and faith. The prayer is performed early in the morning, typically just after sunrise, allowing the rest of the day to be spent in celebration with family and friends. For those unable to attend large gatherings, mosques also conduct Eid prayers indoors, ensuring that everyone has a place to worship. However, the tradition of open-air prayers remains one of the most beautiful and unifying aspects of Eid al-Fitr, reflecting the spirit of community, faith, and collective joy that defines this special occasion. Eid al-Fitr is a global celebration, but the way it is observed varies widely, depending on cultural traditions, local customs, and historical influences. While the core elements, prayers, charity, feasting, and spending time with loved ones remain the same. Each country and region has developed its own unique way of marking the occasion. These differences make Eid a diverse and colorful celebration that reflects the rich heritage of Muslim communities around the world. In Turkey, Eid al-Fitr is commonly referred to as Şeker Bayramı, or the Sugar Feast, because of the strong emphasis on sweets and desserts. Families prepare and exchange traditional confections such as baklava and Turkish delight, and children visit their elders to receive blessings and gifts. It is customary for children to kiss the hands of older family members as a sign of respect, after which they are given candies or money. The festive atmosphere is enhanced by street celebrations and public gatherings, making it a joyous time for people of all ages. In Indonesia, the holiday is known as Lebaran and is one of the most anticipated events of the year. Millions of people participate in Mudik, a mass homecoming migration where city dwellers travel back to their hometowns to reunite with family. It is a time of great movement, as trains, buses, and ferries are packed with travelers eager to celebrate Eid with their loved ones. Families prepare special meals, such as ketupat, a rice cake wrapped in palm leaves, and visit grave sites to pray for deceased relatives. South Asian countries such as Pakistan, India, and Bangladesh embrace vibrant customs during Eid. Women and girls adorn their hands with intricate henna designs the night before, a tradition known as Chand Rat, which translates to Night of the Moon. Markets stay open late, and families rush to purchase last-minute gifts and festive attire. On the day of Eid, people dress in new clothes, exchange greetings of Eid Mubarak, and indulge in dishes such as sheer kurma, a rich vermicelli pudding made with milk, dates, and nuts. In West African countries like Nigeria and Senegal, Eid is celebrated with lively public events, including horse parades and street performances. The holiday is marked by large communal meals and gatherings, where extended families come together to share food and exchange gifts. Traditional outfits, often featuring bright colors and elaborate embroidery, are worn with pride, adding to the visual splendor of the festivities. Despite these cultural variations, the essence of Eid remains the same everywhere. It is a time of joy, unity, and gratitude, where people come together to celebrate their faith and strengthen their bonds with family, friends, and the wider community. Whether through food, travel, or unique traditions, Eid al-Fitr is a reflection of the diversity and richness of the Muslim world. Food plays a central role in the celebration of Eid al-Fitr, with families preparing and sharing special meals that are often unique to their cultural heritage. After a month of fasting during Ramadan, Eid is a time to indulge in delicious dishes that have been passed down through generations. Across the world, different communities have their own signature foods associated with this festive occasion, but a common theme is the emphasis on sweetness, symbolizing joy, gratitude, and the completion of the spiritual journey of fasting. The day of Eid traditionally begins with a light meal before heading to the communal prayer. In many cultures, It is customary to start the morning by eating something sweet, such as dates, as a way to mark the end of fasting. This practice follows the tradition of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, who encouraged breaking the fast on dates or other simple foods. Following the morning prayers, families and friends gather to enjoy an elaborate feast filled with dishes that vary depending on the region. In Middle Eastern countries, one of the most beloved Eid treats is ma'moul, a delicate pastry filled with dates, nuts, or figs, and often dusted with powdered sugar. These cookies are commonly prepared in advance, with family members coming together to shape and bake them in the days leading up to Eid. Another popular dish in the region is kunafa, a rich cheesy dessert soaked in syrup, enjoyed as part of the celebratory meals. South Asia celebrates Eid with sheer kurma, a creamy vermicelli pudding made with milk, sugar, nuts, and dried fruits. The dish, whose name translates to milk with dates, is served as a special breakfast or dessert throughout the day. Alongside sheer kurma, families prepare biryani, kebabs, and other savory delicacies to share with guests and neighbors, reinforcing the spirit of hospitality and generosity. In Indonesia and Malaysia, the Eid feast is centered around ketupat, a rice cake wrapped in woven palm leaves, typically served with spiced meats and coconut-based dishes. These meals reflect the region's love for bold flavors, combining sweet, spicy, and savory elements in a way that makes Eid gatherings even more special. West African countries celebrate with jollof rice, grilled meats, and an assortment of fried pastries, creating a vibrant mix of flavors and textures that bring families together. In Turkey, sweets like baklava and Turkish delight are prepared in abundance, emphasizing the country's tradition of hospitality and sharing. The variety of dishes served during Eid highlights the diversity of Muslim cultures around the world. While the specific foods may differ from one country to another, the essence remains the same. Eid is a time of joy, togetherness, and gratitude, where meals are not just about nourishment, but also about strengthening bonds and spreading happiness. One of the most cherished traditions of Eid al-Fitr is the act of giving gifts, a practice that strengthens bonds between family, friends, and the wider community. Known as Eid, this custom is particularly exciting for children who eagerly anticipate receiving small sums of money, new clothes, or sweets from parents, relatives, and elders. The joy of receiving Eid adds to the festive spirit of Eid, making it one of the most memorable aspects of the celebration for younger family members. The tradition of gift-giving on Eid is rooted in the Islamic values of generosity, kindness, and sharing. It serves as a reminder that Eid is not just about personal joy, but also about spreading happiness to others. While children traditionally receive money, adults often exchange thoughtful presents such as perfumes, jewelry, or home decorations. In some cultures, it is common to give food baskets or handmade treats to neighbors and friends, reinforcing the spirit of goodwill and community. Beyond individual families, businesses, and employers also participate in this tradition by distributing Eid bonuses to their workers. Many companies provide additional financial incentives or gifts as a token of appreciation for their employees' hard work. This practice helps boost morale and creates a sense of unity within workplaces, further highlighting the significance of generosity during Eid. In some countries, governments and charitable organizations organize large-scale initiatives to ensure that even those in need can experience the joy of Eid gifts. Donations of new clothes, food supplies, and financial assistance are made available to orphans, widows, and underprivileged families. This reflects the broader message of Eid al-Fitr, which emphasizes inclusion and the importance of making sure that no one is left out of the celebration. The beauty of Eid gifts lies not in their material value, but in the thoughtfulness behind them. Whether it is a simple greeting card, a small sum of money, or a carefully chosen present, the act of giving reinforces love, appreciation, and togetherness. Across different cultures and regions, the custom of exchanging gifts continues to be a beloved part of Eid, adding to the joy and warmth of this special occasion. Eid al-Fitr is such a significant celebration that it is recognized as a national holiday in many countries around the world. In Muslim-majority nations, the holiday is often marked by official closures of businesses, government offices, and schools, allowing families to fully immerse themselves in the festivities without the constraints of work or daily obligations. In some places, the holiday lasts more than one day, giving people ample time to travel, visit relatives, and participate in communal gatherings. Countries such as Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Egypt, Indonesia, Pakistan, and Malaysia grant multiple days off for Eid, recognizing the importance of the holiday in bringing families together. In these nations, the celebration is not just a religious observance, but also a cultural event, with public festivals, decorations, and large-scale gatherings. Many governments also use this time to offer special welfare programs, such as distributing food to the poor or providing financial assistance to those in need, ensuring that Eid is a joyous occasion for everyone. Interestingly, Eid is also acknowledged as a holiday in some non-Muslim majority regions. In India, for example, where Muslims form a significant minority, Eid is a public holiday, allowing millions to celebrate without work or school interruptions. The Philippines recognizes Eid al-Fitr as an official holiday in parts of the country, particularly in the Mindanao region, which has a large Muslim population. Russia grants holidays in its Muslim-majority republics, such as Tatarstan and Chechnya, where Eid celebrations are widespread. Even in countries where Eid is not a public holiday, accommodations are sometimes made for Muslim employees and students. Workplaces and schools in Western nations with large Muslim populations often allow flexible leave or early dismissals, acknowledging the cultural and religious importance of the occasion. The recognition of Eid as a national or regional holiday reflects its deep significance and the way it brings people together, regardless of their backgrounds, to celebrate joy, gratitude, and community. In many parts of the world, Eid al-Fitr is not just a single-day celebration, but a multi-day event, lasting up to 3 days or even longer. While the religious significance of Eid is observed on the first day, the social and cultural aspects extend beyond that, allowing families and communities more time to gather, exchange visits, and celebrate together. The length of the celebration varies depending on the country, with some nations officially recognizing 2 or 3 days as public holidays, while others extend the festivities for an entire week. In Middle Eastern countries such as Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Qatar, Eid al-Fitr is commonly celebrated for 3 days, with government offices and businesses closing to allow people time to spend with their families. During this period, people visit relatives, enjoy feasts, and partake in traditional customs such as giving gifts and making charitable donations. The extended holiday provides an opportunity for those working in major cities to return to their hometowns, ensuring that Eid is spent with loved ones. In Turkey, the celebration of Eid, known as Şeker Bayramı or Sugar Feast, often extends for 3 to 4 days. It is a time when people visit friends and family, exchange sweets, and honor elders by kissing their hands as a sign of respect. Many Turkish citizens take advantage of the long holiday to travel, turning Eid into both a religious and leisure occasion. In some South Asian countries, such as Pakistan and Bangladesh, the government officially grants 3 days off for Eid, but the festivities can continue for an entire week. It is common for families to host multiple gatherings where different relatives and friends visit on different days. Markets remain lively with shopping, entertainment, and festive treats, making Eid feel like an extended carnival of joy. West African nations such as Nigeria and Senegal also observe Eid for multiple days, with large public feasts, street parades, and traditional performances. The extended celebrations allow communities to fully embrace the holiday spirit, ensuring that everyone has a chance to participate. The length of Eid celebrations reflects the importance of family, togetherness, and gratitude in different cultures. Whether it lasts 1 day or an entire week, the essence of Eid remains the same: a time of joy, generosity, and deep spiritual reflection shared with loved ones. In some countries, Eid al-Fitr is not only a time for family gatherings and communal prayers, but also an occasion marked by unique royal traditions. In nations with monarchies, the ruling families play a significant role in the celebrations, often engaging in public ceremonies, charitable acts, and grand festivities that bring together citizens from all walks of life. These traditions highlight the deep cultural significance of Eid and reflect the connection between leadership and the people. In Saudi Arabia, the royal family observes Eid with a mix of religious devotion and public service. The king and crown prince lead Eid prayers in grand mosques, often alongside government officials and religious scholars. One of the most notable traditions is the issuance of royal pardons, where the king grants clemency to selected prisoners, allowing them to reunite with their families during Eid. Additionally, the government distributes financial aid and food packages to underprivileged citizens, ensuring that the spirit of generosity and community is upheld. In Brunei, the Sultan opens the doors of his palace, Istana Nurul Iman, to the public for several days during Eid. Citizens and visitors line up in thousands to greet the royal family, receive blessings, and enjoy lavishly prepared meals. This open house tradition fosters a sense of unity, allowing people from all backgrounds to participate in the celebrations alongside their leaders. In Morocco, the king performs the symbolic act of sacrificing sheep, a gesture that reflects the country's deep-rooted Islamic traditions. The royal family also oversees charity programs that provide food, clothing, and financial support to those in need, ensuring that Eid remains a time of joy for everyone. In Malaysia, the king and queen host large-scale Eid receptions attended by government officials, foreign dignitaries, and the general public. These gatherings serve as a way to strengthen national unity, reinforcing the values of hospitality and generosity that define Eid. These royal traditions add a unique dimension to the celebrations, blending religious observance with national identity. By engaging with their citizens in meaningful ways, monarchs help preserve the cultural heritage of Eid while ensuring that its message of compassion and togetherness reaches every corner of society. Eid al-Fitr is a celebration unlike any other, filled with joy, gratitude, and meaningful traditions that unite millions of people around the world. Whether it's the excitement of spotting the crescent moon, the generosity of giving zakat al-Fitr, or the warmth of family gatherings, each aspect of Eid carries a deep spiritual and cultural significance. While many recognize Eid as a day of prayer and feasting, its history, customs, and diverse global expressions make it one of the most fascinating festivals in the world. Beyond its religious observance, Eid is a time of renewal, reflection, and giving. It is not just about personal joy, but also about ensuring that those less fortunate can share in the happiness. The act of charity, the importance of community prayers, and the exchange of gifts all reinforce the values of compassion, generosity, and togetherness. These traditions have been passed down for generations, evolving in different ways across cultures while maintaining the core essence of the celebration. The beauty of Eid al-Fitr lies in its diversity. From the bustling markets of South Asia to the grand open house gatherings in Brunei, from the vibrant horse parades in West Africa to the royal Eid traditions in Saudi Arabia and Morocco, every region adds its own unique touch to the festivities. Despite these variations, the heart of Eid remains the same. A time to express gratitude, reconnect with loved ones, and spread joy within the community. As the celebrations come to an end, the spirit of Eid continues beyond the holiday itself. The kindness shared, the prayers offered, and the bonds strengthened during this time serve as reminders of the values that should carry on throughout the year. Eid is more than just a festival. It is a reminder of faith, unity, and the power of generosity. Whether you celebrate Eid or are simply learning about it, the lessons it brings of love, charity, and gratitude are universal. Now, it's your turn to share. What was the most surprising fact about Eid that you didn't know before? How do you or your community celebrate this special occasion? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more insightful content. Wishing you and your loved ones a blessed and joyous Eid.